One. Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos. We're back at you Christmas weekend. And look, PB, what do we got? We got a mug. We got a PB&Z Sports mug, a coffee mug. And now we have PB&Z Sports Chaos shot glasses. Thanks to longtime listeners, Aaron and Steven, for this gift. I appreciate it. And you know what, fans? We're going to be Santa Clauses. Watch our Facebook page this week. PB's going to put together a little competition for the fans that go on and pick against us to win one of our items next week. You'll see it on the Facebook page this week. All right, let's get right into the show. Hey, Christmas weekend had some good games. Obviously, we picked basketball. PB, you went 4-1 in your basketball picks, correct?
4-1. The Celtics killed me. That was my one.
I went 3-2. I did not pick the Celtics. I did pick the Nuggets. They lost. All right. Hey, speaking of Christmas Day, the Saints, it was a Christmas Day miracle for Alvin Kamara. 6 touchdowns. The Saints absolutely blew out the team. I forget who they're playing, but it doesn't matter. They crushed them. By the way, PB, the Saints, is this their formula from now on? Do they have to run the ball to be competitive and win the conference and get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think Breeze. I mean, Breeze is still on the money. He made some serious throws in that game. That being said, I think Kamara is just more of the game plan when Breeze is in there. When Taysom Hill's in there, it seems like Kamara phases out of the game plan a little bit. And Kamara, he is that offense really. So with Michael Smith gone, yes, I think the run game is going to have to count more than they may have typically relied on it in the past.
I'm with you on that. Hey, TB12 also had a big game yesterday on Saturday. 348 yards, 4 TDs in the first half. He didn't even play the second half. Unbelievable. Tampa Bay, what do you think?
Yeah, I really like what Tampa's doing now down the stretch. Classic TB fashion, right? Getting stronger in December, heading into the playoffs. They're likely going to pull off that top wild card spot as the 5 seed and get to play the 4, which we know is going to be the winner of that NFC East. So the Bucks are really just, one easy game away from being in the, Final 4 in that NFC. So I like what they're doing.
Nice. Hey, and by the way, PB's 2 Cinderella playoff picks also played yesterday. First of all, his Cardinals, the shoe fell off for them. They got upset by the San Francisco 49ers, 20-12. Pretty good game. 49ers really showed a lot with their third-string quarterback, Kyle Shanahan. He won't win Coach of the Year, but he deserves votes for it for sure. And then his Dolphins team needed a miracle finish to beat the Raiders, and they got it. John Gruden, I don't know. I think the clock is up for him, 15 minutes of fame. Poor clock management. They get the ball back with 3 minutes left in the game. They get a huge offensive pass interference, get the ball down inside the red zone, and he likes to just run the ball and run the clock out to kick a field goal. They could have scored. Josh Jacobs was going in to score a touchdown. He fell down on purpose, right?
Yeah. It was poor clock management all around. And
then they go to kick the field goal. They snap it with 14 seconds left on the play clock, 25 on the game clock. If you take a delay of game and run it down, there's now 4 seconds left after the 10-second runoff for the offensive penalty. You kick it, the game's over. It just blows my mind. Yeah. And Fitzmagic wins the game. Does Fitzmagic play next week? They get a win next week, right? The Dolphins against the Bills. Does he play?
Yeah, they probably have to win. If they do lose, they'll have to backdoor their way in with either Baltimore losing out or with, depending on what Cleveland, Tennessee, and Indy do, they all have 4 losses. So if one of those teams loses today, that puts them at 5 losses, which was the same as the Dolphins. So a lot of different scenarios could come into play. The easy thing is just go ahead and win out. They're playing Buffalo. It's in Buffalo. Buffalo may not have anything to play for. Their seed might be locked up, and their first round, home game's already locked up. So I don't think there's much there to play for Buffalo. So you might see some key players getting sat, which opens up the door for Miami. I think they just ride Tua. I think Fitzpatrick gives them a good chance to win any game, but the future of the team is Tua, so they got to ride Tua.
I just saw it. Flores came out and he said Tua's going to start next week. Speaking of breaking news, Urban Meyer is now being interviewed for 2 NFL teams, coaching positions potentially. They haven't said which two. I'll be surprised if Urban does come off the sidelines and goes to the NFL. We'll see. We'll talk about that if it happens. And by the way, one college game yesterday stood out. Coastal Carolina and Liberty. What a game. Coastal forced a fumble to put the game into overtime. Liberty ends up kicking a field goal and then blocking Coastal's kick to end the undefeated season. Too bad, Coastal, but they had a great year. All right, PB, let's pick a couple of these college bowl games coming up this week. We'll do a college show next week about the playoffs, right? Probably Thursday we'll do one. But There's a couple of bowl games that are pretty intriguing. Miami Hurricanes. I've been a Hurricane fan a long time. I know they've gone through some long years, lean years. They're a 2-point underdog against Oklahoma State. What do you think Tuesday night?
Yeah, I want to pick Miami because they've played some good games this year, and I've been watching them more than I usually do. And they've been impressive at times, but down the stretch here, they're just not – to me, they're not as cohesive as they were earlier in the year, believe it or not. And Oklahoma State has been. So laying the 2, to me, it's basically a pick-em game. I'll take Oklahoma State in this one.
I'm going to go Miami. Oklahoma State star running back is sitting out. He's getting ready for the pros. He's not playing in the game. I'm taking Miami. All right. Colorado versus Texas. I forget which bowl this is. I think it's like the Pan Am, sugar, sweetened tea. I don't know. Who knows? But Colorado's a 9.5-point underdog against the Longhorns. Longhorns have underperformed all year long. What do you think?
Yeah, they have. They've won some good games. They've lost some games they shouldn't have. 9.5 is a big number too, you know. But I think Vegas knows more than we do here in this situation. Texas has just more experience under their belt, more games under their belt for the season. I'm going to take the Longhorns and lay the points.
By the way, we thought Vegas knew more than they thought in the college playoffs last week, the title games, and none of the favorites. I mean, they all won, but they didn't cover for the most part, right? Other than Clemson.
They haven't covered too.
You know what? I think Colorado does cover. I think they, with the 9.5 they get, they don't win the game, but I think they cover.
All right.
Jerry Rice's son plays for that Colorado team, by the way. He had a great game the last game he played. He had 2 touchdowns, including a punt return. OU versus your University of Florida, your college football playoff pick that didn't happen. What do you think? It's Florida by 3. I believe it's the Orange Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I think A&M's playing in the Orange Bowl. But
okay.
I do like the
Gator Bowl. It's the Gator Bowl. Okay,
it's Gator Bowl. So how can I not pick the Gators then? But I mean, Florida's still a good team. I thought they were going to fall flat against Alabama in the SEC championship game, coming off that horrible loss the week before, which could have had them in contention. But they didn't. You know, they played with Bama, especially in the first half. They just played with them. So
you picked them with the points. They covered. Yeah,
I think Florida's a good team. So I'm going to go with Florida here and lay the 3 points and pick against your Sooners. Sorry.
How can I go against my Sooners, who, by the way, are suddenly playing defense? They found a defense in the last 5 games. Go figure. They needed one the last 2 years. Before this, when they were playing in the playoffs, they didn't have one. Now they have one. I think they have enough defense to hold Florida down. They get a great offense with Spencer Rattler at quarterback. I like OU to win that game.
Wow. Right. So we're different on all 3 college picks.
All 3 games, brother. We'll see what happens. We do our college football playoff picks later on this week. All right, let's get to the NFL. Before we do, we got another A to Z. PB's A to Z list. This week, A list. Who was the better football player? These are 5 pairings from football players who are now analysts or broadcasters. I'm going to ask him who's the better football player, and then he's going to respond with who's the better analyst as his Z list. First one, you got the Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw, 4 Super Bowls versus the 2 Super Bowl winners, Phil Simms. Who do you like there as the better player?
Right. As far as player goes, I think they both obviously have won multiple Super Bowls. Bradshaw's got 4, Simms got 2. They both were carried by their teams, though. They both had good defenses, good lines. So they weren't like stellar quarterbacks in that sense. But just given the fact that 4 rings in 6 years with Bradshaw's Steelers, I'm going to go Bradshaw as the better player.
All right. Analyst.
I mean, I don't like Bradshaw on Fox. I mean, he's funny. I mean, if I want to get a good laugh or something, but as far as what he brings to the table, he's kind of a clown. And Phil Simms, I like Phil Simms. I liked him in the booth, until Roman took over for him. I thought he was doing a great job. And you know what? We've had some personal experiences with Phil Simms too.
Yes, we have. That's right.
Talked to him about, golf and his kids and just life in general. And he's a class guy. So I'm going to go Simms, the better analyst.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is a good one. 2 Hall of Fame defensive ends, 2 analysts, Howie Long, Michael Strahan. Better football player.
Yeah, it's hard to go against the local guy, the Charlestown boy, right, with Howie Long. He was a fierce lineman, right? He scared people. He scared quarterbacks. Strahan was good, not to take anything away from him, but not Howie Long good. So as far as football player goes, going Howie Long there.
I like it. Strahan couldn't play the run. All right, analyst, who's better between the two?
Yeah, Michael Strahan does a lot of stuff on TV, right? He does the morning show and things like that, and he's got a good TV presence. As far as football goes, though, he's average, and I think Howie Long brings a lot of intellect to the game. He really knows the game inside and out. He offsets the aforementioned clown of Terry Bradshaw on Fox. So, I'm going to go Howie Long both here, both better player and better analyst.
TB12 agrees with you on that one as well. All right. Tony Gonzalez, one of the greatest, maybe the greatest all-time tight end, versus Michael Irvin, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer himself, better football player.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Irvin's certainly an outstanding receiver. I just think he had a nice complement of players around him, a good offense, good coach, good quarterback, good other receivers that allowed him to maybe get open in other situations where he couldn't have. Whereas Tony Gonzalez, you said, one of the best, if not the best tight end to ever play the game. As far as just a well-rounded football player, I think Gonzalez gets the edge here, but this is a tough one.
Hard to pick with a guy that's best in his position, where Michael might have been only in the top 20 in his position. Yeah, you're right. All right, analyst.
I love Irvin. I really like what he brings to the table. He's funny, but he knows his stuff. Good insight. Knows the game. Just many years he's been doing it for, right? He's been around for a while.
ESPN, now NFL Network. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to go Irvin as the better announcer.
All right. I like that pick. Chris Collinsworth, a pretty good receiver, versus Daryl Moose Johnson, a very good fullback, better football player.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Moose against who?
Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah, it's a tough one. They were both really good. I mean, Johnson was a beast. But I'm going to go Collinsworth here as far as player goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about analyst or color analyst on the broadcast, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Collinsworth, he's kind of getting washed up. He's kind of getting old and stale to me.
Been doing it a long time. Yep.
He gets a lot of criticism around, what his color, right, that he brings to the game. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to go Moose here on that one.
Woo! Okay. All right. The last one, the 2 Dallas quarterbacks. One of them a 3-time Super Bowl winner. The other one, the guy that fumbled the snap in the playoffs. Aikman versus Romo. First of all, player.
Hands down, Aikman, better player. Multiple Super Bowls. Great quarterback. Just not even a question. Romo, probably one of the biggest choke quarterbacks that we've seen in a while. With Dallas, never could get him there with the great talent he had around him. I mean, the guy couldn't even handle an extra point snap to get his team to the playoffs. So, Aikman all day.
Wow. I agree. It's Aikman all day long. How about analyst?
I mean, not only is Romo a better analyst, but I think Romo might be my favorite analyst, definitely right now in the game, but potentially ever. I mean, he came in.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, he came in for Phil Simms. I didn't have that high of expectations for him. I wasn't sure what to expect. And he's been doing a phenomenal job. He knows the game. He calls plays before they're even happening. He's really got a good sense of what's going on out there in the field. I like Romo a lot.
All right. I have to agree with you. He's the highest paid color analyst in the game today, I think ever for that matter. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. All right. Hey, we're going to do some picks. Hey, first of all, I got to say, PB, congratulations. You made that bold prediction last week that the Jets would beat the Rams. They did. But then you said the Giants would beat the Browns. Not so good. We're not going to pick this as a pick six, but the Jets are playing the Browns this week, right? Are you going to go? You're going to go with them 2 in a row?
I don't think so. I mean, I said the Jets are going to win a game somewhere here down the stretch, and they did it against the Rams. So I don't think they're good for 2 in a row here. And Cleveland's playing for too much, despite some of their setbacks going into this week. I still think the Browns win.
The Browns got no wide receivers going into this game. If there was any game I would have picked the Jets, it might have been this because of that. Who knows? But Cleveland does have that running game. So, all right, let's get into our pick six. First one, this is a battle of division leaders. Indy, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is on a 3-game losing streak, not looking good at all. Big Ben maybe washed up. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, even when Pittsburgh was 11-0, I still thought this team was not as good as their record. I thought they were a little bit of a fraud team. Never expected them to do anything if they make the playoffs. I think this still – did they even clinch the playoffs? I think they have. But
Correct, they have.
They could still run the table with 5 losses here and, you know, be a wild card. Cleveland still can win that division. And wild card or not, they're still going to go – I think they're a one-and-done team because they're going to run into a good team like an Indy or like a Tennessee or somebody in this first round. Big game for Indy, right? They got that division to win still. They're tied with the Titans. I think Indy can go in and keep this losing streak of Pittsburgh's alive and beat them.
I like Pittsburgh. I saw a stat. I think Big Ben averages over 300 yards a game against Indy in his career. Seattle, the Rams. I'm sorry. Seattle and the Rams. That's at Seattle. They're playing for the division lead here, right?
Yeah. Seattle's a game up on them right now, but this would put him for a virtual tie in terms of records. Embarrassing loss last week for the Rams. I think they were looking ahead to Seattle, and then they have Arizona next week. You know, when teams play, I look at their offenses, and they're not too different. I mean, the Rams have a good offense. Seattle has a better offense than the Rams, but I think the Rams' defense is just that much better than Seattle's. The defense wins here to help the Rams. So I'm going to pick the Rams over the Seahawks.
All right, I got you as well. Rams too. All right. Tennessee goes up to Green Bay. What do you think?
Yeah, Green Bay, my number one prediction at the beginning of the year to be the number 1 seed, right? In the NFC. Right now, they are in that spot. I think the only way they can lose it is by losing out and the Saints winning next week. So they have the stronghold on that. But let's just get that business taken care of with a win this week. So I'm going to take the Packers.
Tennessee does not worry about the weather in Green Bay behind Derrick Henry. I like Tennessee. All right. This is a game. The loser is probably out. The Giants are playing for the division title in the NFC East, the worst division of football, but the most competitive division. All 4 teams are still in it. Let's start with the Giants going to the Ravens.
Yeah. You know, I again, this is one of those sneaky feeling games that the Giants are going to figure out a way to win. The Ravens are another team to me in that NFC North that's fraudulent in a way. Don't expect them to go anywhere in the playoffs if they even make it, but they need this to be even in the picture. And it's just hard to pick against them right now. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens, but I might regret that.
I'm with you. The Ravens. I told you Lamar was heating up after he came back from COVID, and he has been. Ravens all day long. All right. Another NFC East game. These guys can clinch the division. Believe it or not, the Washington football team, they host the Carolina Panthers. What do you think? If Giants lose and Washington wins, Washington clinches.
Yeah. No McCaffrey for Carolina. Carolina's just been so up and down. Washington's been playing really good football lately. They're in the lead in that division. They, I think, can see themselves being a playoff team. And as a result, Washington football team wins this game.
All right, I'm with you, Washington as well. But I'm hoping not, because this last pick, believe it or not, if both Washington and the Giants lose, this pick right here is for first place potentially in the NFC. Philadelphia at Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, and at least Washington is playing good enough football to be considered a playoff team and might do something. But if any one of these two teams, the Eagles or the Cowboys, make the playoffs, it'll be like joke shop 101. I just they both suck. I mean, they're really two bad football teams. But I'm going to take the less suckier team here, Cowboys.
You know what? I'm afraid of Jalen Hurts. I think he goes off once again, but somehow, some way, I think Dallas pulls this one as well. So I get Dallas. All right. I think we're off on 2 games, right?
Yeah. You had over the Packers, and you also had the you had another one you picked against me.
I got Pittsburgh, Indy.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
All right. All right, man. Good show. And by the way, fans, watch for the announcement about how you can win some PB&Z Sports Chaos merchandise this week by picking against the pros from Sports Chaos, PB&Z. All right, man. Over and out. Talk to you soon.
Good weekend, everyone.